That's one thing when somebody tells me they go to bed early, I find that very attractive, which is, I never thought I'd say that before, but it is.
Hey, Empowered Vegan Lifers, Ella here, coming at you from Charlottesville, Virginia right now. I think by the time this comes out, I will be back in Miami, or we'll be back and forth. But as of now, I've been here for almost a month, helping open the barn doors of Hogs and Kisses Farm Sanctuary, which has been such an amazing experience, not only with the animals, which is, the reason I do pretty much everything in my life, but also with meeting new people. And one of those people is Scott Williams, who I interviewed for this episode. And there was a specific reason that I decided he just had to be on the show. And I'm not going to share that right now because we get into that at the very beginning of this episode. So stay tuned for the reason I just had to get Scott on this show. But let me tell you a little bit more about him before we dive in. Scott Williams is the founder and owner of Camp4Real. Wait till you see this camp, you guys. It is so super cool. He taught elementary physical education for over 20 years. He's been named all sorts of Teacher of the Year type awards. I'm going to put them all in the show notes because there's many, many of them. He also is a presenter and a keynote speaker at physical education conferences around the nation. He just loves his career. He loves educating on people on plant-based nutrition, on increasing mental health awareness. He also does Spartan races, hikes, and he loves the beach. So that's Scott in a nutshell, but just wait. You're going to hear really get in depth to who he is, what he does, and the incredible impact he's making on the lives of children, of other people, of animals, and the planet. So stay tuned for this incredibly inspiring and just a fun episode all around. Let's dive right in. Well, Scott, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, we met, I guess it was last week, a week ago, something like that.
A couple weekends ago.
Yes. And one thing that I noticed that really, I don't want to say surprised me, but we were up, Anne was showing us the house, right? Mm-hmm. And there was a bee that was trapped. Mm-hmm. And you immediately went over and you did what it took to save and free that bee. Mm-hmm. Where did that come from?
I don't know. Where did it come from? I always tell when I try to recruit my mama to veganism, I'm like, I'm compassionate and loving because of you. And she says, oh, you're good. But she's open-minded to it, but she hasn't went all the way. But I'd have to say from her. But yeah, the more and more I learned about veganism and the ethical aspects of it, I think the more and more my love for everything grew. So it doesn't just stop at people, animals, whatever, insects too. I mean, especially bees, they do so much for us, so much for our food. And yeah, so anything I can do to help anybody, I'm all about it. So the bees as well.
Well, I like to start out with your going vegan story. Mm-hmm. Can you share?
So I think it all started for me. It was a documentary and it was probably Food Inc. And I saw I don't know if it was in Food Inc. or not, but I saw it and it was a cow being humanely slaughtered, which is a great way of teaching my kids what oxymoron is, or anybody what an oxymoron is. Not that I teach my kids much, my campers, my students about the ethical aspects of veganism. But I saw that and I was like, I'm done. So it was that. And I think it sounds funny, and I think I talked about it with Anne a few months back, but I met a pig one time. So I think that got the ball rolling. And once I met the pig, and I was like, wow, this pig is super cool. It's chill. It's smart. It's just like a big dog. Mm-hmm. And I stopped eating pork products right then and there. And then
how long ago?
It's like 12 or 13 years now. So yeah. And so after that happened, that's probably when I started seeking out documentaries and I was watching that. And then it just slowly phased things out. I phased out red meat altogether, and then white meat altogether, and then all dairy. And I think eggs is probably the last thing that, and I thought it was very effective for me. I think, I don't know, whenever the basis is ethical, it's a lot easier. So that was easy for me, and it didn't really take long. And I've had nothing but good effects from it. Obviously, I have a clear conscience, but health wise, I'm super healthy, and I didn't lose any muscle or anything like that. So I know some people are really terrified of that. I don't have any protein deficiency. But yeah, that's where it all started for me. Met a pig and then watched the documentary. So
I love it. And you're so right, people. I'm so glad you're here. We don't have that many men, physical fitness men on the show yet. But that's one of the biggest fears of the men, of losing muscle and shriveling up and dying if you stop eating animal protein. So what do you say to those people?
I try to get out there. I try to point them to other people. Like Game Changers is like, what that's the best dog. It's so entertaining. It's hilarious. It's well done. And it throws a lot of athletes out there from all walks of life. But honestly, if I did start losing muscle because of that, it wouldn't stop me from being a vegan. I'll tell you that. But yeah, I've honestly been probably in better shape in my 40s than I was in my 30s when I was eating processed food and still eating animal products. So yeah, definitely Game Changers. That's the best one. Just putting like so many tremendous athletes out there and showing their stories and showing that their performance has not only been negatively affected, but positively so.
Yeah, agreed. All right, so you got this amazing camp. Let's just get right to the camp. Tell us a little bit about the camp and how it came to be.
What came to be, because I was a teacher. I was a physical education teacher for 15 years, elementary. And at some point it clicked for me, probably three or 4 years in. I became really passionate about nutrition. And it was even before my transitioning into vegetarianism and veganism. But I just cut out all artificial ingredients. So no artificial stuff, minimize the processed stuff. And my immune system just got really, really strong. And then I just wanted to learn more about nutrition, and I did. And the more I learned, the more great benefits I saw, the more I want to share with my kids. When I reference my kids, it's always my students, my campers. I don't have kids of my own, but I love them like they're my own.
I can tell.
And so I started working with my cafeteria manager and working with the people downtown, at the admin in terms of school lunches. And because what they serve our kids is it's terrible. It's atrocious. And the cafeteria manager, she was amazing. Like, she was so open-minded, but she can only do so much. She only has so much support.
Yeah.
And we had a very, very well-known and respected program in the county, which is great because most PE teachers just fly under the radar. But the whole health advisory board that I met with, they knew me. Like, I would say half to 3/4 of them knew me. And I got nowhere with them. Like, nothing. It's like running my head into a wall over and over and over again. And eventually I said, I'm just going to start my own camp, and I'm going to show people that these kids will eat healthy food. You just have to put it in front of them. And I think the next summer I did 3 camps. So 3 weeks of camp, and we started half day. Then we started offering full days, and then I eventually went full time. And yeah, it's amazing. So it's very, very physically active and fun and dynamic. That's how PE teachers are. So with that, coupled with my nutrition passion, we feed the kids a healthy plant-based snack, free of artificial ingredients, minimally processed. And we do the same at lunch for the kids that stay full day. And we've evolved. It just keeps getting bigger. We get to more schools. We used to hold it in the schools, only the public schools. And we would have the gym and the outdoors. And during the summertime, the kids would just wilt in the heat. So we would actually avoid the outdoors, and just to keep the kids, they did not want to be out there. But when we started working with the private schools, Miller School and Blue Ridge, they have amazing facilities, hiking and biking trails. They have their own private lakes, private pool. we're outdoors 80% of the time, 90% of the time. So yeah, and that's been really conducive to a COVID environment, because last summer, our first summer of COVID, we were able to do 5 camps, which is huge because they pretty much, all the other schools shut down.
Yeah.
But we were able to do 5 camps at Blue Ridge and got almost 200 kids in the door, which is amazing, especially considering what we all were going through mentally and lack of connection and all that. But this summer we have 8 weeks of camp, and it's same thing, all Blue Ridge and all Miller, all outdoors. And they were expecting around 500 kids, I'd say.
Wow.
Yeah. So
that's
we're
amazing.
Back to full strength in terms of numbers. So super, super passionate about getting those kids out there and moving and connecting with kids in their community. And that's the beauty of our camp that we do in the schools, that those are the neighborhood school camps. We have, I'd say 85 to 90% of the kids are from that school. So it's really connecting. Any kids, families that are moving into town in the summer, we always recruit them to come so they meet some of their teachers and their classmates. But these outdoor camps, we'll have kids from probably 10, 15 different schools. So yeah, it's been an incredible journey, and we just want to keep getting bigger and get to more kids, as many as we can.
Okay. So would you say, in terms of the fitness aspect and the nutrition aspect, do you focus on one more than the other? And the marketing, I do want to get into kind of the business side of it, because that's something I do as well. And a lot of our listeners are starting their own businesses as well. So we'll take it one step at a time. Nutrition, fitness, where?
I'd say it's pretty, I guess we would more towards fitness because we spend more time on fitness, and fitness is very broad. I mean, fitness can look, it's always, we're not doing push-ups, we're not jogging laps at any time. I mentioned the word dynamic. I don't know about you, but I would much rather be chasing someone in a game than be jogging laps by myself any day of the week. And that's how most kids are. So we're out there, we're moving a lot in many different ways, but we infuse nutrition into our fitness. So after we do our healthy plant-based snack in the morning, the first thing we do afterwards is we do a nutrition game. So we teach them nutrition concepts through creative gameplay. So one of the games we play that's easy to explain, it's sugar crashers. So we talk about blood sugar levels and added sugar versus natural sugar, stuff like that. And then, I try to minimize the talking because they don't want to listen to me talk. They want to play. Yeah. So we have the added sugar taggers, and they run around and they tag people. And if you get tagged by the added sugar tagger, and we talk about what might be, it might be soda, it might be, well, heck, any processed food these days has added sugar, but foods that they're familiar with. And if you get tagged, you spaz out 3 to 5 seconds, and that's like a sugar rush. And then after that, they're allowed to go safely crash into a wall. So illustrating the sugar crash, they come up with another zombie. And that illustrates the sugar crash. What happens when your blood sugar level drops? You feel lethargic, you feel sleepy, you might get sick or feel sick to your stomach. And then somebody else in the game there might be 3 or 4 fruits or veggies in the game. It's just a ball, but they go hand them an asparagus or a tomato or something. So, kind of eating those healthy foods to balance the blood sugar levels. That
is so cool.
Yeah, and it's fun, and they'll remember it. That's the important part.
Did you come up with that yourself?
Yeah, I think that one, and everything's a collaboration too. I think that's why my kids love me so much, because you're talking about entrepreneurs and business people, like any type of vertical chain. I hate vertical leadership. I cannot stand it. I try to make it as horizontal as possible. That's one of my former students, and she's 16 right now. She runs my social media. She tells me all the time, she's like, I think we need to do this. She's very empowered and she's amazing. And I'm like, yes, please tell me more. How can we make this better? And it doesn't just stop with my counselors. Obviously, my co-teachers, my colleagues that I used to teach physical education with, they're crucial to the whole operation. We hold the camps at their schools. They recruit the kids. They have amazing ideas too. They're super creative, but the kids, they are the most creative. Like, they have the best ideas, and you'll probably hear me at camp, I don't know, 10, 20, 30 times a week. Like, all right, how can we make this better? Who's got an idea? How can we make this better? I've got this issue. I've got this game. It's just not quite right yet. So I wanted to come to you, and they feel empowered. And we don't really do this in in summer camp because we're outdoors so much, but you also have to, I was always keenly aware of my quiet kids because I did not want to speak up. I may have an idea, but I do not want to look stupid in front of people and I do not want to be embarrassed. So I may not say anything. So my kids that are very confident, very outgoing, they'll offer it up anyways.
Right.
You know, they want you to, they want to hear you. They want your ear as much as possible. But my quiet kids are smart too. So I give them an option to go to the dry erase board. Anytime we're playing and the music's on, you can go over there and write down anything. I mean, and how can we make this activity better? What songs you want on the playlist? I want to hear your voice. So if you don't want to share your voice, or we have 50 kids in camp or in class, they can't hear everybody. So just different ways of connecting with the kids. And that's probably, we did a lot. I mean, I've had two amazing coworkers that worked with me as PE teachers. And we had a lot of amazing programming that we did. But the thing that I'm most proud of over all the years is my rapport with the kids. And it just, I mean, I can't wait. My camp starts in less than a week. I'm like, just get me to Monday. Like, I don't want to do any of the emails. I just want to get in front of the kids and be with the kids. And yeah, I think that's what I'm most proud of, is the relationship I have with the kid and the love I have for those kids.
Where did that come from? Did you learn it? I know there's all sorts of books on, but where did that come from?
I think it was, I don't know where, it just evolved slowly, because I remember, and I was just reflecting on this with a colleague of mine, or no, I met somebody who went into PE, you know, she's studying in college. And I was like, just love the kids from the get-go, because I was told, I don't know who told me this, but it was the worst advice ever. It's like, you got to be really hard, really strict that first year. Like, you don't want to show any weakness whatsoever. And I still remember the first kid her name is Sarah. Like, I still remember her name. And this was like 16, 17 years ago. The first kid that asked me for a hug. And I was like so put off by that. I was like, you know, it's your birthday, I guess. And I gave her a hug. And now, well, before COVID, right, when I was teaching, I would probably get 100, 150 hugs a day. Just because, yeah, those kids, I just saw, you know, how, well, somebody asked me once, why do you love kids so much? And I had to think about it, because nobody ever asked me that before. And I said, because they love me for who I am. So it's like an unconditional love. And when you kind of open up to that and you see that and appreciate it and speak it, then it's just going to exponentially increase. So I think it just increased throughout the years. And the more I became comfortable showing that, because, you know, you're talking about guys and protein, and said, well, guys and showing emotion, especially love, that's for whatever reason in our culture is seen as, well, it's getting better, but it's seen as weak or feminine. And like, nah, I'm cool with being loving. And I'll be out in the open about it, and hopefully inspire others to do the same too.
Love that. Okay. So when the kids come in and you start teaching them about plant-based nutrition, how educated are they in general, like coming in, not having done your program before?
There's varying levels of it. Like, if they've done the programming before, they retain it. They're sponges. It's great. But you'll get a lot of kids, same thing as adults. Like, what about the protein? What about so they're very open-minded, and it's quite the ethical dilemma for me, you know, trying to balance it, because I would love to go into the ethics of it, but I've kind of just stayed to the nutrition piece. And, you know, anytime, and they think it's hilarious too. Like, I'll flex on it, like literally flex. And like do you think that I'm not getting my protein? Like, I've been vegan 11 years. So there will be, you know, they're raised in families that have those same, you know, those same thoughts about veganism. And, you know, sick, pale, weakly, I'm like, oh, I'm very healthy. I'm very tan, and I'm 200 pounds. So I'm like, well, right here it is. You know, this is living proof that you can be healthy, and healthy looks different for many different people. But yeah, that they don't know. There's a lot that they don't know. There's a lot that we don't know as a society. Like, I don't know. I'm not sure if the nutrition programs that are in our universities are even teaching our students there that artificial ingredients are bad. Like I know that I had one, and she was vegan, and she volunteered. She was at the JMU Dietetics Association, and she volunteered at my camp every year. She was in university, and she said that her professor, they were doing a healthy eating project of some sort, and Velveeta was used. I don't know if you know what Velveeta
Shut
is.
up, that nasty cheese.
I wouldn't call it cheese.
Yes.
I mean, it's a block of orange. What, I don't know what it is, and the fact that that's even considered not anything other than trash. I don't know. Like, not to be judgy, but it is. It's just processed, artificial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not judgy. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Really.
So that's I mean, those
Yeah.
are people that are in nutrition, in college.
That's
and
insane.
so the kids come from everywhere. I mean, I don't get too many vegetarians or vegans, but I'll see that every once in a while. It's always really cool to see that, there are some out there, because I know of a few vegan kids locally that are just totally rocking it. But as a whole, I would say most of them are not, but very open-minded to it. Very open-minded.
And here in Charlottesville area, and these private schools are around this area. Is that correct?
Yeah, the private schools we hold camp.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're high schools. So whenever the boys are gone from Blue Ridge, that's a boarding school for boys, and the students are gone from Miller, we slide in and we take over the campus.
Okay. But I'm saying in this area of the country, I wouldn't call it necessarily forward thinking, LA and New York, there's so many vegan options and you hear about it everywhere, and it's kind of quote normal. Here it's a little less, right?
I'd say a little less than those big cities,
Yeah.
but we're pretty progressive, I would say. And fewer and fewer people are coming up to me. Well, more and more when I tell them I'm vegan, it's like, wow, you must be really healthy. So I get more of that, because when I started my journey, I did not get that. This is more how do you get your protein, which I still get, but yeah, there's a lot of people that are very educated, and we've got some very healthy families here. So even though they don't jump in completely, I think a lot of them are definitely implementing plant-based, and especially when the kids come home and the kids love, they'll go home and they'll teach the parents. So
that's what I was going to ask. How does that work?
Coolest. Yeah, that's amazing. We'll do label detectives is probably my favorite activity we'll do with the kids, and it's one of our community builders too, because before COVID we would do camp buddies, and camp buddies is an older camper with a younger camper, and we would do mostly physical fitness, physical activities, fun little stuff, buddy backpack, where they carry the little kid around, just silly stuff. But at the end of the week we do label detectives, and they pair up with their buddy and they try to, there's different levels, but the easiest level is identify an artificial color, because my kindergartners can do that. First graders, because it's just a color followed by a number. And if they find that, they come show one of the teachers, one of the counselors, and they have, achieved the level of detective. And then when they do that, they celebrate it by throwing the label against the wall. So they love that part, because they're just searching, like, we need to find something so we can chuck this thing against the wall. So again, it's fun, dynamic, but they're also learning. And, it kind of supports what we're doing earlier in the week with our nutrition games. And all of our nutrition games are focused on, when we implement the healthy behaviors, you become better at the game. Whether it's you're competing against somebody or competing against the taggers who are added sugar or bugs, like we talk about virus and bacteria. But yeah, so when they're doing that, they retain it, but they're just hawks. So, like, we can't wait until we find it, because if they find a good one, yeah, that's good. Not a lot of sugar in this one. This one's got a lot of fiber, not too many ingredients. So, like, this is a good cereal. So, and that's what we normally do. Cereal. That's a pretty popular food. So we want to bring a lot of awareness to what would be. There aren't many healthy cereals, but there are some that are okay. But yeah, when they find the unhealthy ones, and they'll find certain ones that, my goodness, I ate all those as a kid. Like any Lucky Charms or Fruity Pebbles, and it's just like artificial color after artificial color and copious amounts of sugar. And I was like, all right, you know what to do. And then they just go chuck it against the wall. And I think I mentioned it when we talked a few weeks ago, like those labels are just totally torn up by the end of the week and by the end of the summer, because the kids have just, they've just totally crushed them, literally. And then that's the one where I hear back from the parents the most is, we went through half our cupboard the other day after your label detectives game and threw out, all the bad food. So the kids will go home and they will make change, which is those are my favorite stories to hear.
That's huge. That reminds me, you're talking about cereal. When I was growing up, my parents were relatively healthy. So we had Cheerios and grape nuts. We didn't have the really bad ones, right? So sometimes for Christmas, literally, we would unwrap a gift and it would be Lucky Charms, or I can't remember what, Lucky Charms. Oh, Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Yep. So, but that would literally be wrapped under the tree. And it would be like our favorite gift. We would talk about a cheap gift. But yeah, no, that's so great that they're the teachers. They become the teachers.
Yeah, we challenge them to do that. They're always up for the challenge. And they always want to show what they've learned, and they always want to share. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, that's why kids are the best.
And you have the camp, but you also have pop-up.
Yeah, so this year we've done quite the evolution with COVID. Our outreach that we normally do is Kids Night Out. We have Friday night events. It's like 3 hours, and we'll rent the various schools around the county, and we'll just kind of show them, like, here's a little preview of what we do. We're gonna do a little snack. We'll do a nutrition game, and the snack won't be anything too big, but it kind of lets them. We highlight what we do. And this year, when the pandemic hit, we couldn't do anything indoors. So I had to figure out what we were going to do. How was I going to be connecting the community? And the way it started off is we did what we call fan club workouts, fun active neighborhoods. So I literally would come up, and here in Virginia, we had like 10 was the gathering that you could do, like even outdoor gathering. Yeah. And I would put cones like 10 feet apart from each other, and I could play. I know game. Like I know how to entertain a crowd, even if you have to stand there. Like I can do it. And we'll do a little fitness warm up. It's probably the only time I ever do fitness with the kids is when in COVID we did a little warm up, but always playing music. Always got to be playing really good upbeat music. And we would play fitness games, and we would dance. So all stuff that they could do, and still gave them that little competitive aspect of it. And I always love giving the kids choices too. And so if you want to compete, share your score, try to beat your buddy beside you, or try to beat your mom, because that was the cool thing about that, is the parents came in and they wanted to play too, because they've been cooped up as well. But if you don't want to, just have fun. This game is fun. Like I'm trying to catch you doing something. That's kind of what the games, what some of the games are. So we did that. And then eventually, as things kind of opened up a little bit, we were able to do pop-up PE. And that's just where we go to various schools around the county and like, hey, we're going to be here for 90 minutes and we're going to be playing games that are socially distanced. So we used to play a lot of tag games where you tag with your hand. Now we just tag with noodles, and those noodles are like 5 feet long. So even if they are in each other's 6-foot bubble, it's not for long. So, and I think it's pretty widely accepted, or it was around summertime last year, not completely, but widely accepted that, if it's outdoors, you're probably safe. But just to be safe, we stayed socially distanced as much as possible. And yeah, we got a bunch of kids out there, and the more and more as we move along, the more we get. So we there at the end, before I cut it off, because we're preparing for summer camps, we were getting 60, 70 kids at some of our events. Wow. So we made kids night outside. So we couldn't go indoors, use the bathroom or anything, couldn't do the food. So we just did, just gave them pieces of fruit. So not as creative as we are normally when we're doing trail mix or sun butter rainbow wraps. We can whip that together like real quick. And they always loved eating the healthy foods. And so yeah, that's kind of how we evolved throughout the year, and just standing at our cone, having fun. And then we just got a little bit more and more, I guess, adventurous, I would say, because a lot of people were scared to do anything, but yeah. I was more along the lines of, I think they need to be connecting with each other and moving and having fun, that's going to be way more detrimental if they're not doing that than the potential of, the virus.
A lot of our listeners get to a place where they feel really healthy and happy, right? And then they realize they're not fulfilled in their career, and that they want to then now start to inspire other people in bigger ways. But it's a scary transition, right? Going away from something you know and that's stable to creating something new. So can you talk to us a little bit about how you made that?
Well, I had a lot of help. My last year of teaching, like I knew it was going to be my last, because it just started off. And I love sharing the story too, because I love being vulnerable. I love sharing, whatever I can do to inspire people to get better, get healthier, mentally, physically, whatever. So I went through a breakup. I like to call it the double breakup summer. So my relationship ended. It was like very difficult. And my best friend that worked with me for 3 years, he's my coworker. We had a blast every day. He left that summer too, to move across the state with his family. So I lost 2 amazing people. And not only did I lose Kobe, my coworker, but they didn't replace him with a PE teacher. So I think I alluded to it earlier, like we do a lot of stuff, like we do a lot of extracurricular stuff. So having a second colleague really helped us do that. I don't think I would have been able to create all that programming if it was just me. So when he left, and I had a teaching assistant, but no PE background whatsoever, it was all on me. And that school definitely needs 2 PE teachers, because it's really big. And just because of the precedent that we had set, like every year we're doing a health fair, every year we're doing wellness week, every year we're doing early bird PE numerous times. So there's so many things that we do, and it just wore me down. And I eventually took 8 weeks off, FMLA, Family Medical Leave Act, because I just couldn't take it anymore. So when we went, it was like under this cloak of darkness. Like my administrator was very supportive, and he's just like, I'm gonna tell him you're taking a leave and you'll be back in January, which is 8 weeks of school. And I was like, good, don't tell anybody that it's my mental health. But halfway through, I'm like, I'm off work right now for my mental well-being, because I wanted to empower as many people as I could. So yeah, it was definitely, I'm somebody that normally is pretty terrified of change. So I normally need people to help me. And I don't know, like God, universe, whatever you want to call it. I just was getting the message, and it was, I probably could have left a few years before, but I wasn't ready. I was having fun. Didn't want to leave one of my best friends. It was just too sweet of a setup. But yeah, it was like some of my favorite personalities on podcasts. Somebody calls it a cosmic 2x4. Yeah. So if you're not going to listen, the signals are going to get louder and they're going to hurt more. And going through all that, I was like, yep, I'm going out on my own. And thankfully it had built up. The camp was to the point where financially I was going to be fine. And I mean, it was the right move in so many ways. Like before COVID hit, I was just having the best year ever. And that was my first year out. I didn't even complete a whole year. More consulting opportunities came. There were many that I had to turn down because I can't take so many days off of school and to go work somewhere else. So now, I'm consulting. I was probably 15 states. Yeah. So I was free to do that. And it also enabled me to show up on Kids Night Out. Like Kids Night Out, it's so fascinating. I love being around kids. Every day of the week I could, but you run out of gas. You run out of energy. And Fridays, after 5 full days of working and then showing up for those kids on Friday night, yeah, it's fun. I get a little bit more juiced up because this is my business. I'm trying to do. But when I was out of teaching and I came back to Kids Night Out, when I wasn't around kids for 5 days, I was just literally on fire. Everyone, and I was the ultimate advocate for my program because I was just having so much fun. So yeah, there were a lot of things that happened in my life that kind of pushed me out the door because I tried to hold on there for a while, and it was tough to do, but long game. I think it's the best thing to do because I was I was affecting 450 kids there, but I can reach way more getting out there and doing my thing. So and that's the goal now. It's just reach as many kids as I can, get them having fun, eating healthy, connecting with each other, feeling loved, loving themselves. So that's my goal now. Reach as many kids as I can. I have no financial goals anymore. That's what they used to be. Mm-hmm. And now I like being in this place. I want to do what I love, and I want to help as many kids as I can.
And so what is your plan to help as many kids as you can?
That's the challenging part, because I know my gifts well. My gifts are I'm very creative and I love kids and I have great rapport with kids. So if I'm with them for 15 minutes, they want to hang out more. They want to do more of whatever I'm doing. Where I struggle is organizing things. Mm-hmm. So that has been the challenge. So many things about camp are just up here in my head. And I would like to get it out here in a manual, something online, whatever, so we can replicate it easier. But I'm patient with myself and getting better. Like I'm training my staff this year. Normally I would just recruit my kids that are awesome. Like they're just going to be great being themselves. But now we're just going to be a little bit more thoughtful about what we're trying to do at camp, make sure that those kids are seen and heard and loved every day. So still looking for that person too. There's somebody out there I'm going to hook up with and they're going to be like, here's what you need to do. I'm going to hold your hand through this, because anytime I have to write something down, type it out, I'm like, something needs cleaned over there. I got to go wash my car, or the only time I ever clean is when I'm avoiding something. So so that's definitely been the challenge, but I want to replicate it as much as I can and get to more underserved families. Like that's my thing. And I live in a community that would probably be considered underserved. And none of those kids can afford my camp. They can't. They just can't. It's expensive to rent these facilities, expensive to run. Yeah. I can't raise money right now because I'm a for-profit. Just figuring out the best course of action. I think once I do that, once I find that person that is gonna, I need my type A. That's what I need. Like I am not at all opposed to partnering with somebody. So I would love it to be somebody in the PE world or the recreation world, but maybe it just needs to be somebody in the business world and be like, hey, you are not capitalizing on your gifts as much as you could. We need to take you, because I'm answering emails. Like I should not. I love talking with my families because I'm just so grateful they're even reaching out to me. Yeah. But I shouldn't be answering emails because it takes me forever. Yeah. I mean, that's not a good use of my skill set. As much as I want to converse with them, I can't be doing that stuff. But again, I'm being very patient with myself, very gentle, because I keep getting better every year. There's more and more. I got people doing my social media now and people doing my communication. So my team is great. I need more. I need more on my team. So just get me in front of kids and get me creating. And I need a ghostwriter of some sort. Just takes down everything I'm doing.
It's a good problem to have, though.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that you need those people. Okay, one more question before we get to the sprint round. Are you a spiritual person?
Yeah, I'm still. I said it earlier. God or universe. Yeah. Like I'm kind of in the middle. You know, I can see both sides. I grew up Catholic. Catholic was not for me, and it kind of I don't want to say ruined me. I just said it. So yeah, for religion, it just wasn't my thing, and I found Unity Church, Unity of Charlottesville, and it's more all encompassing. It's accepting of all people. Race, creed, sexual orientation, whatever. Like they love everybody. They hug in there. Well, before COVID, they hug in there every day. I'm like, yeah, I love this place. First time I walked in there, and yeah, definitely Christian leaning. But they're just like whatever God is to you, that's fine. So I don't know what that is to me right now, but I just try to be as loving and as giving as I can, and I think it's a pretty. I don't think I need to define it, honestly. So if
that has to come from a place, you know, something that has to come from somewhere. What you think is good and right and helpful and loving, and so that in and of itself, I mean, to me, is somewhat spiritual. Anyway, okay. So, are we ready for a sprint round?
What I heard. So I normally love sprints, but when there are questions,
Okay. Just do the best you can.
Okay.
Okay. Nobody's grading this paper. We've got 6 of them. I gave extra for you. I don't know why, but I just thought of a few extra. Okay. Number 1. What's one food that, if you had to choose one food that you would eat every day for the rest of your life, what food would that be?
Watermelon.
Okay, that was easy. See? What is you and pigs, by the way? Pigs love watermelon.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. So you and the pig. What's one of your favorite kids game that you secretly want to play more than the kids even do?
Avengers. I play it literally. I play with every group, so the kids never get tired of it. And again, it's a tag game that just takes so much executive functioning. Because I don't even delve into it because it's so complicated, but it's so much fun. And I play it with every group, so I play it exponentially more than they do, and I never get tired of it.
All right.
I want to play it every day.
Well, now I kind of want to know what it is.
It's just everybody has their own superpower. So I might be Iron Man. I can throw something at you, but you might be Thor. You can block it, and person over there might be Ant-Man. So when you're getting chased, you just shrink down and you can't see him anymore. The kids call Ant-Man the most annoying superhero because you're about to whack them and they just shrink. So yeah, it's just like so many different battles happening in the midst of this game. It's just straight fun chaos. It's controlled chaos. I love it.
Oh, that sounds fun. What animal do you feel most spiritually connected to?
Oh, dogs. Dogs for sure.
Okay.
I mentioned it. My mom, unconditional love. Kids, unconditional love. Dogs, unconditional love. That's why I love all 3 of those things.
Love it. Okay. If you could choose anywhere in the world, where would you want to take your camp next?
Mexico. I just stayed there for 5 weeks and I absolutely loved it. And I just want to, I'm sure there are more beautiful places out there like Bali. I've never been, but Mexico is just so ridiculously accessible. It's so close. I took a 3-hour flight and I was there. And I'm somebody that just I don't have any use for winter. And I can just, like, so much so where I'm thinking of living down there this winter and coming back here to do kids' night out events. Because normally, like, I can't do that because I'm in Mexico. Like, heck, I can fly back and then fly back now because it's just really expanded. That trip has expanded my mind so much. So I want to take it to Mexico just to show people how amazing it is, how close it is. Because then, more people will take advantage of it.
All right. Well, then you might have to then come to Miami because you can do that in the winter as well, right? Maybe over winter break, have a camp.
I'll go anywhere to do a camp. I just need to have boots on the ground. I need to have colleagues there that can vouch for me. That's always the challenge in getting started.
All right. What would be the perfect first date with another vegan?
Perfect first date
with another vegan, another ethical vegan.
Well, obviously you got to go to vegan restaurants. She wasn't vegan, but I met a friend down there and we went to an animal shelter and walked dogs. I think that's super vegan.
Yes.
But yeah, drinks and dinner on the beach though. I did that down there too, like right on the beach. So yeah, I think all those things together. But the perfect first date though is talking, is just communicating, being open and vulnerable. Like I know when I'm having a good time with somebody, and I love it when I just jump in. It's like first time I meet you, we're talking love languages and vulnerability and how your past relationships shaped you. I love all that. I'm just fascinated by people and by their journeys. So yeah.
What is your love language?
All of them. Oh yeah. Physical touch and words of affirmation, definitely at the top, and quality time. But yeah. So I tell people when I'm not on dating apps, but when I am, I say I'm multilingual, but it's in reference to love languages. That's my little witty. That's about as far as it goes on those dating apps. That's not my jam.
Have you tried any of the vegan ones?
No.
Don't.
No. No. I didn't know there were vegan dating apps.
Oh yes.
Well, not here in Charlottesville. I don't. Yeah. I think I know all the vegan women here. There aren't many of them. Yeah. There are some amazing ones. Pool. Oh my gosh, amazing ones, but there aren't many.
Yeah. All right, last one. What's the age that you feel like So how old or young do you feel if you had to put an age on it?
Well, it depends where I am. Like when I'm with kids, I'm probably, I'd say 14, because I tell them I talk good-natured trash to them. Like when I'm introducing myself and what Camp4Real is all about, and like I'm just giving you a heads up, like I'm going to play every game and I'm the fastest kid in camp. Like I say that all the time, like I'm the fastest kid in camp, because it gets a rise out of, especially the younger ones. They're goofy, they love it, but they're like, you're not a kid, and like, well, I kind of am. But yeah, so definitely 14, but outside of the kids, I would say, I don't know, 30s. I'm 43, almost 44. Like I'm not partying like I used to, and I'm definitely way more protective of my sleep. So that doesn't sound very young, but I love early bedtimes. Like that's one thing when somebody tells me they go to bed early, I find that very attractive, which is, I never thought I'd say that before, but it is. So yeah, I would say 30s. But I'm in the best spot of my life right now. It's just, I'm living my dream, and just everything I do, I love. So I'm very, very grateful. So I love to speak it too, because that's the next journey consulting wise, is I want to talk more to PE teachers, like as a keynote, and just get in front of them, because PE teachers just, we're humble to a fault. Like it's not a very respected profession, unfortunately, but with my program and how we affected every kid, the whole school and the whole community, like numerous times throughout the year, like on the daily basis with the kids. But yeah, we were the center of that school. Like everything revolved around what we did, and it was amazing. And I want other PE teachers to know they can have that effects. And it's not, and you have to be intrinsically motivated though, because we don't have a lot of accountability for us as teachers, as PE teachers, because it's not an SOL, like they're not testing, they don't care. There's just no accountability. So, but there are still amazing ones out there. And those are the ones that work with me in my camps. So yeah, always seek out those good PE teachers. And so I want to empower them more, because I think knowing your gifts, knowing your potential, and speaking that, it's super powerful. Yeah, super powerful. So I want to inspire as many people as I can to do that, whatever realm they're in, not just education, nutrition, kids, just know your gift and speak it and go after. Like I would hate for anybody to be in a job that they, like my father did not like his job. He hated his job. That's no way to live life. And I don't want any of my kids doing that. My campers, my students, my friends, anybody that's randomly listening to this podcast, I don't want them doing that. Yeah. So yeah, it's just not worth it, regardless of what's keeping you stuck. So
message of empowerment. I love it. Scott, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
I feel like we could sit here and talk for hours, but I know you got a lot to do. Getting ready for your camp to launch this year. And
super excited.
Yeah, well, great talking to you. I'll see you again soon.
Thanks so much.